Hey guys, so welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing this purple haze look I created. I'm a little under the weather, so please excuse my voice, but I hope you like this look. So I'm going to start off by priming her lids. This is just going to ensure that all the colors show up as vibrant as possible. I'm going to start off slightly diffusing this Pretty in Pink color by Morphe. I'm taking a fluffy brush and just kind of creating the shape that I want, and then going in with a smaller brush and the same color, or actually I'm going to stay with the same brush apparently. I'm just going to add a little bit more intensity so the color really starts to show up. And like always, what you do to one side, you want to do to the other. Then going in with a smaller brush, I'm just going in and adding a little bit more detail. This is another Morphe color. It's called Magical Magenta. And then just going back and forth, really working on the crease, making sure that you diffuse everything and that you still don't lose any of the intensity along the way. The details are really important with this look, so take your time, especially when doing the crease work. I'm just going back in with that same Magical Magenta color and really adding a lot of depth to the crease area. Now I'm going in with this kind of champagne colored from my Morphe 350 palette, and I'm using this shadow wet just so I can really intensify the lid and really show all the glitteriness that is in the pigment. With this color too, I'm also using it to kind of shape out the crease and just further perfect the smooth kind of line that I'm trying to achieve. And I always make sure to load both sides of my brush just because it makes it really easy to kind of stay on her face and not have to go back and forth. Then I'm going to go again with that same pigment, just dry, and I'm patting it on to the wet just so it really solidifies everything. Make sure that everything is also as bright and as shiny as possible. Next, I'm just prepping her skin. This is a little combo that I made of my Strivectin Daily Hydrator and a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. I feel like this combo really helps to hydrate the skin. She looks like she's obviously enjoying it. So starting with foundation, I am using the Kat Von D Lock-It foundation. This foundation is really good for covering a multitude of sins, but it doesn't look super heavy, especially on camera, which I like. Then going in with my R0 skin conceal from OCC Cosmetics. I'm using this as a highlight, and I'm just kind of going under her eye, and then whatever product I have left, I'm kind of buffing it up towards the top of her cheekbone so there's a more natural gradient. Then whatever's left on the little sponge I got going there, I'm using it to shape under her cheekbone. This way I feel like it ensures that I don't put too much product, but it still is kind of highlighting where it needs to be highlighted. And then, like I said, what you do to one side, do to the other. I'm using the mini little green beauty blenders. I really love these for any kind of sculpting work. I think that they just work really nice because they work in smaller increments, which looks a lot more natural. And then taking a little bit of that same R0, I'm gonna shape and shade a little bit of her forehead and then blend it away. This is a shape I always like to do with women's faces because I feel like it just really complements and it always gives like this very lifted look. I go right under the smile line and then I connect that to the highlighted part of the under cheekbone area. I feel like it also guarantees perfect placement. As far as when applying blush, layering it on top of this, it won't sit in any of the frown lines, but it's also not going to get into any of the contours. So it kind of is all about placement. Now to bake. I always go where the little line is first, and I make sure that I set that part first, just because I don't want it to break or crack. And then whatever powder I have left, I kind of smooth it over the top of her cheekbone area or wherever any of the contour, or excuse me, highlight might be left. Then using that same sponge and powder, I'm kind of just shaping along the sides of her nose to create a faux contour. Then adding a little bit to the center of her forehead, and then on her chin, just so you can make sure that you're always balancing out the light. And then just taking a little bit of that same powder and going in that shape you created, just because you want to solidify everything and make sure that everything bakes nicely. I'm using the AirSpun powder in Naturally Neutral, by the way. Next, to contour, I'm going to be using Hula bronzer from Benefit. I really like this bronzer. I love the matte kind of warm look. I've never really been a big fan of shimmered bronzers. I feel like this one too, it just looks a lot softer. I'm kind of just taking this along the sides of her face, under her cheekbone. She already has like phenomenal cheekbones, but just to make them even better. Then I'm going down the sides of her jawline. This is just really going to ensure that everything looks nice and sculpted. And remember to always blend your contours. You can kind of see here where I leave that little shape. It kind of creates this perfectly lifted, kind of ageless look, which looks good on any age, any skin type, all that good stuff. Then taking a little bit of that bronzer again, I'm just kind of defining the tip of her nose, just to give it a little bit more definition. And then going down the sides with whatever product is left on the tip. I don't really like to go too crazy because I have a heavy hand sometimes. Then I'm just going to kind of push everything back into her skin with a really fluffy brush. I feel like this just kind of solidifies the texture that you've created. I don't understand how people will go and do sponge work and then swirl a brush and kind of ruin everything. And then this is where I was talking about with placement. I'm using a color that is in my BH Cosmetics blush and contour palette too. This color I feel really just looks gorgeous. It's a really beautiful peachy kind of pink blush. And I'm kind of only putting this where I made that shape, just so we can always ensure that everything has its place on her face. Then going in with my Anastasia Beverly Hills Peach Nectar Face Illuminator. You know that this is probably one of my favorite products. It has a similar tone, so I'm just layering this on top to add a more dimensional, dewy pink kind of look to it. Then going in with my favorite Inglot pigment. I totally forgot what number this was, but anything that I forget I'll put in the information box below. This is like my favorite pigment in the world. I put this on everybody. It really looks so gorgeous in person and so natural on camera. I can't get over this pigment, honestly. Taking it a little bit down the sides of her, down the bridge of her nose, just so we can add a little bit more kind of glimmer and dewiness. And then just on the tip of her Cupid's bow. Now I'm kind of marrying everything at the top to the bottom. I'm using that pink shadow and just kind of running it along the bottom of her lash line. And then with the following color, I'm just going to add a little bit more depth, more towards the outer part, just so it kind of all has more of like a smoky gradient. And then going in with Private Agent from Morphe. I'm going to just be defining the outer part of her lash line. And then going in with just a little bit of my SmashBox Blackout. This is just going to really help to make it look really smoky and really dark and really just mysterious. Next, I'm just going to prep her lashes. I'm using Roller Lash from Benefit. This is probably one of my favorite mascaras. I'm using the little twirl method. I feel like this really helps to boost her natural lashes and gives it a really nice voluminous curl, which makes it like effortless to blend into the false lashes. I'm just kind of pushing these in with the tweezer, just making sure that they get tacky and they dry at the right place. Boom. I seriously love lashes. Like, you're not a bad bitch until you put on a pair of lashes. Or two. Look at that. Yes! Now I'm just kind of covering the lash band with a little bit of mascara. Mascara girl with some eyeliner. I always do the wing last just because I feel like it's a lot easier for me personally. Then I'm just taking a lip brush with a little bit of a CoverGirl lip gloss and outlining her lips and then just filling it in. Then I'm going in with a medium kind of taupe brown eyeshadow. This is just what I'm going to use to fill in her brows. I'm not really going crazy, I'm just kind of adding a little bit more thickness and just kind of filling them out. I always start with the middle of the brow just because I feel like it's a safer bet if you add too much product. And then that way, if you ever have to kind of add more to the front, there's not going to be as much product on the brush, so it just makes it a lot easier for you in the long run to blend. I alternate the shape of my brush too. I go side to side, and then at the front of the brow I kind of flick it up just so it kind of creates like a bushier tip. And I'm not perfect, so I always go with a little bit of concealer and I just kind of clean up underneath. Basically done. Boom. So I hope you guys liked the look. Thank you so much to my model, Marissa. I had a lot of fun shooting this. Thank you guys so much for watching my videos. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.